It was going so well for the Cowboys on defense. Randy Gregory was playing at a high level. 5 sacks, led the team in sacks, actually. Now, he's out probably until after Thanksgiving, as Randy Gregory suffered a calf injury during Wednesday's practice, and it's disappointing. It really is. DeMarcus Lawrence was on his way back from the broken foot that he had surgery on before the Week 2 game against the Chargers. Now you lose Randy Gregory. We don't know when both of them are going to be back. We were told that Randy Gregory, it could be a 3-week injury, but we were also told that DeMarcus Lawrence could be a couple weeks away, and depending on how the Falcons game went, I thought they could hold him off or they could bring him back a little early. It's more of a wait and see kind of game. As we had said in our previous video, Odell Beckham Jr. went on waivers. He ended up signing with the Rams. It was a 1-year deal worth only about $4 million, but heavily has incentives. Now, the Packers would say, well, we made a great play. They offered him vet minimum and never said how they were really going to use him in any particular way. The Rams end up finding a way to get him on the phone. Sean McVay talked to him. Jaylen Ramsey was supposedly a big part of bringing OBJ to LA, but also he spends all of his offseason in LA. Makes a whole lot of sense for him to stay in LA. As I said, it's a 1-year deal only worth about $4.4 million, heavily incentived, so it's a good spot, and he wants to be there for the long term, even after this contract. The Browns had agreed to terms with guard Joe Benito on a contract extension. Second long-term guard in 2 days. First was Wyatt Teller, now Benito. It's telling the Browns fan base, we need these guys here. They need to be here. That's why we're keeping him. We don't care if we have no money by the offseason. We need them here. It's a smart move. And it's actually very intelligent by the Browns. Even though you may not have money to spend in the offseason, keep these guys here. We need them. Good news for the Cardinals, as the Cardinals had activated A.J. Green from the COVID list. But not so good news, quarterback Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins were not spotted at the headquarters by local reporters during practice, and neither was wide receiver Rondale Moore. Which is, if like Hopkins and Murray ended up missing their last 2 games. The expectation is Murray is closer to returning than Hopkins, but we don't know if Murray's going to be playing on next week, or if it could be they wait because they have their bye week the week after. The Panthers had signed Cam Newton, 1-year deal, pretty much vet minimum contract. But how this all went down was they had a kind of a putting everything out in the open. Cam and his father both went down and met with Matt Rule, the general manager of the Panthers, and the owner of the Panthers. As I said, clear the air. Let's see where we go. It went pretty well. If the Panthers, they end up beating Arizona. They have Cam run for a touchdown. He throws for a touchdown to Robbie Anderson. Went pretty well. This all also happened because of the Sam Darnold injury, in which this front office has said, hey, if you're not the guy, we're moving on from you. They've done it last year when they signed Teddy Bridgewater to the big contract, and then they trade him away. They bring in Sam Darnold. They say, yeah, we'll bring in his 5th-year option too. Then they say, you know what, you're not the guy either. We may get rid of you too. We bring in Cam Newton. P.J. Walker was the quarterback. It all works. Now, to end on some bad news, if you're a Washington football team fan, the second-year defensive end Chase Young has feared to have suffered a torn ACL. We are still waiting for results on that. If he's gone for the year, that's a huge dent in that defensive line. They lost Josh Sweat earlier with the jaw fracture, and now you could potentially lose Chase Young for the whole year. That's incredibly debilitating on that defensive line that has been last year was probably the best defensive line in football. Now you lose probably your best defensive player on that team to an injury that could be season ending.